There is a radical transformation that happens when you discover what you truly are, beyond thought, beyond any conception of yourself, a story of yourself. We live in our heads so much that we forget what is not changing, which is this present moment. It's eternal, it's always here. It's so close, it's so intimate and constant that we lose the fact that that's the only thing that there is. It's like you're just watching, you're just seeing everything unfold throughout your day. But who you think you are is simply an expression of this energy. Nikola Tesla said everything is energy if you want to find the key to the universe or something like that. But everything is energy. Everything is a manifestation of your vibration. It's not necessarily that you have to vibrate at a certain frequency or that you have to do something specifically, because manifestation will happen. And that's been the case if you've been someone that's been suffering at every turn, having this inner conflict and tension within your body and not really understanding why. Well, that's simply because we have these beliefs about ourselves, right? It's how we understand reality. It's how we understand ourselves. And this is reinforced through your family, through society, where they point to you and they say everything that you've done wrong. But truth is that there's nothing wrong in reality. That's simply another interpretation. So what happens when we delve into ourselves and really discover ourselves as this aliveness, as this energy? Well, for one, we discover the mechanism of thought, which comes and goes, and it's always changing the story of you. You see, you is an understanding. From that, you create a sense of doership or responsibility. I'm doing this. I did well. I need to improve. But these are all happening in your knowing, in your awareness, without making it a story, putting meaning to it. It's like you watching this video. There's simply just something happening. That's a fact. But whatever you say this moment is, it creates the sense that it means something, that something is actually happening. But imagine this. Let's say you're watching a movie, and if you were not to interpret the movie or understand the movie, what's actually happening? It's just images on a screen. It's just shape and movement and sound and sensations that you're feeling, but there's no inherent meaning. Life is about meaning. To have no meaning in life actually gives you the freedom to see its transparency, to see that it actually has no power other than the power that you give it. Even then, you're still unaffected by your simple observation, by your simple awareness of the totality of experience. Imagine that you're this vast ocean, right? And all of a sudden, a wave arises. And somehow, because the wave arises, you believe that is you. And so you become the wave and you forget or pretend that you're not the ocean anymore. So that expression of the wave starts to say, I'm separate. I need to do this. I feel this way. This person has affected me. So now you've become the wave and you've completely forgotten that you are the ocean, that everything and everyone is you. And so it's not about the inclusion that happens, it's that we exclude ourselves from the totality of experience. You see, suffering is the resistance to the things that we don't like, we don't prefer. You may ask why? Well, because you're not willing to face these unconscious beliefs that we have about ourselves, and we all have them. I'm not good enough. I'm not perfect. I'll never become that person that I want to be. Or people don't like me or don't love me. But these beliefs, if they're not seen through, they start to affect you energetically, your aliveness. You actually forget the simple fact that you are alive, that you are aware. Right now, notice the sensations in your hand, in your body, and simply see it without story or narrative. You see, thought always tries to describe reality, but it never captures the essence of what it actually is. because what it actually is has no meaning, it has no content. It simply appears. We can say the only fact in reality, in experience, is that it's all happening. We're all here. We don't know why, even though we can create a story that we were born, that we came from our parents. But what was the source of that? And then what was the source of them? We can go on and on trying to justify what is reality, where do we come from, what is God. But the truth of the matter is that there is no explanation. The Big Bang happened and there wasn't a cause for it. It simply happened without a reason, without justification. That is the freedom of life, that it's simply unfolding. Now, it gives you as awareness to sort of project in terms of the movie and the screen what you believe about yourself to be true and real, and you feel that. But those things are not actually empirically facts, true. So when you believe any word, any concept, any sensation, any emotion, thought telling you what you are and what reality is, then you forget that everything is already included inside of you. There is no edge to awareness. If you were to simply go into yourself, feel the aliveness, the sensations, without content, without story, and there is no edge, you would have to interpret that, understand that. That's why I say that it's the exclusion of what you don't want to feel about yourself. This could be fear. We all have that. Being overwhelmed, being anxious, being angry, all those negative emotions that we were never really taught to feel. And we excluded them because we labeled them as wrong, as bad, as insecure. And the mind reinforced that through its interpretation. But let me ask you this. What was watching it? What knew that you were fearful, but yet it wasn't fearful? Let's say, for example, you're feeling overwhelmed right now. There has to be something that is not overwhelmed to notice the contrast of what is overwhelmed. You can remember the sensations. You can remember the actual event of when you felt overwhelmed. And so there's something there that is completely unaffected, but it's only your belief that you were affected. The one affected is the affected. In direct experience, there is just oneness. There's just wholeness. Everything is already integrated into it. But it's only our interpretation, our meanings that separate and label. Now, these are necessary for navigating in reality. That's a chair. That's my mom. I have to go to work at this time. But if we see them as ultimate reality, we forget that these are being overlaid and they don't actually define or affect us, that we're only affected by it by the meanings that we're putting onto it. Like I said, meaning is very transparent here, but the mind grabs it. It thinks that it's true because it's built on its existence, its sense of control of reality. The mind needs to survive, and that is built from years of our ancestors trying to survive out in the wild. But in today's day and age, especially with AI coming in, actually proves we are unconscious to our own habits, to our own conditionings, to these beliefs, literally projecting an experience that is being known, but it's not being recognized as not ours, or better yet, not accepted fully, that we can embrace it and not get trapped by it. Awakening or enlightenment has come down to one thing in my experience, and that is the more we resist life, reality, the more we're unable to see that we are actually made of the experience of reality. Thought is simply just a tool, a function. I'm saying these words, but the importance is to see what is watching it, what is in the background that knows my experience, so that I can become conscious and aware and recognize that there's simply an aliveness here that simply wants to express itself in a certain way. And that can be love, that could be freedom, that could be peace, that could be presence. In today's day and age, we need to learn to master this level of presence, which we are. the paradox in all of this. The you is trying to become present, but yet it's the one thing that obscures the presence that is already here, the silence, the freedom from concept, from notions. So, how is it that we can see ourselves as the ocean and not just the wave? Well, we need to stop believing thought, stop being defined and taking everything personal and thinking that words and concepts are actually truth. They simply just point to what is watching. You're simply always just watching. Let me give you another example. Let's say you're in your room and you're studying, you're doing some work, and then there's loud commotion outside, music, parents speaking loud. Thought says that shouldn't happen. They're being too loud. That's wrong. You see, that thought creates separation, not because it actually does, but because it makes you feel real through your sensations, through your interpretation, your very understanding where you want to get right. You want to justify why you feel the way that you do. This is why that I say that it's very important to actually feel our emotions, feel those beliefs. Oh, I'm overwhelmed. Oh, I may be feeling angry, and actually see this and not go into the story of what this actually means. We've been conditioned. It's not something that's going to change. It's a habit that you build unconsciously, unfortunately, for all of us. And this is just the residue of the dream of thought. We live in a conceptual world, and everything we've been taught to label and organize, but we've forgotten the essence of what we are, which is this aliveness, this energy. Feel the hand, feel the body, feel the breath. These are just simply happening, and they're all constituted on this one thing, energy. And that energy is being manifested, we could say, but just don't take ownership of it because it recreates the you. And the you is not a problem. Like I said, it's just a function. But the question here is, what is it that I want to express to the world? What is it that I want to give to others that I've already given myself? And so that I create the world that I want to live in, that I create the world that I want my kids to live in. That is what we need to investigate. That is what we need to look. And we do that by becoming present, by letting go of these ideas and notions and not going into the story of thought, of describing reality instead of experiencing reality. You can talk about the ocean. You can talk about going to Norway, to actually experience it, to actually go there, smell the air, feel the ground, go through the raw sensations, emotions. Everything is included. Nothing is excluded. In other words, everything is me. There is no such thing as a not me. That is the end of suffering.